Okay, welcome class to VEN 100. In a previous video that I showed you related to seed sprouting and germination as far as plant breeding goes, I was focused on scarification. And scarification again is the mechanical rubbing or breaking down of the seed coat. And that happens in nature naturally, as I mentioned, but the way we did it in that video is through sulfuric acid, adding sulfuric acid. And so I just wanted to quickly follow up. I told you in that video I would show you the results of that experiment. Well, the results were not good because I said in the video that I collected those seeds after the processing of a couple different varieties of wine grapes. Well, I didn't think this through, but as you guys are thinking through right now, the reason that those seeds were not viable is they went through the fermentation process. Those seeds were collected after they were spit out through the end process and they were piled up, and I said, yay, grape seeds, I'm going to do this experiment. Well, those were non-viable seeds, not one seed germinated. I repeated the process and started the process over again. So I want to start by just telling you where your seed would come from and give you some examples. So here is a Negro Amaro grape seed, a grape from the Negro Amaro vineyard. I took this off, I took a bunch of them off, and if you want to look on the inside, what you're going to see, if I pop this sucker open, we're going to see three seeds surrounded by a membrane. And if you rub that membrane off, these are ripe seeds. They're starting to have that nut-like brown characteristic on the edge of the seeds, and this is fresh seed now. And there's one that maybe didn't develop. There's 3 seeds in there, and that's typical. These 3 seeds are decent in size. They came out of a pretty large berry, and this would be considered fresh seed because this grape was harvested this fall, and now the seeds could be ready to go. I have another seed here to show you. This is a native Arizona grape, and so I collected this up in Oak Creek Canyon. And so you see the fruit is starting to dry, and inside that fruit, if I pull that tiny little fruit away, this is how much is left of the fruit, you have 1 seed inside of there. That's a fresh, because it came off this year, native Arizona grape seed. Now I also purchased some grape seed from a company called Wild Seed in Tempe, Arizona, and I bought from them some native Arizona grape seeds. Those are pretty healthy and these are pretty big. But one thing I didn't mention is I'm mentioning fresh first year, or these seeds have been stored for a couple years. These seeds are in a deep dormancy. It's going to take a little bit more to bring them out of dormancy, which I think I determined in my follow-up video. So again, the seed, the reason we would do this with seed is to get a crossing of genetic information. You don't want a whole mix of different genetics in your vineyard because you want uniformity, and that's why we use clones for uniformity. But seed is used to cross different varieties, even different genus and species, as long as it's Vitis. The genus Vitis can cross with the other ones, and you can somehow take the best of each variety and bring it to the table and with those genetics. So I wanted to show you that I just wanted to explain to you that the seeding is typically done for breeding purposes only. It would only be done for research, developing new varieties, or maybe the homeowner who wants just a couple grapes might want to do that. Okay, so here, if you want to come in, this is the new experiment that I did. And the thing with this has only been going for about 4 weeks. We're starting to see some results here. So let me show you this one first. Okay, this is fresh seed from 2012. I took the berries, I popped the seeds out, and I did something called stratification. If I was to take these seeds, put these seeds into some vermiculite or some moist peat and hold them in dormancy in the refrigerator at 35 to 40 degrees, that mimics the winter temperatures. That mimics a grape dropping its seeds down, going through the winter, and then sprouting the following spring. You can fake that by doing it in the refrigerator. I did that with a mixture of Tempranillo and Malvasia, and so I stratified all this Tempranillo and Malvasia seed. What I did was half of this is fresh seed, half of this I stratified for 6 weeks, and then I just planted it. This is the germination that I got. Half of this I stratified for 6 weeks, and then I scarified it for 5 minutes. You can see a distinct, this sprouted and this sprouted right away. So fresh seed is common denominator, and the stratification, and then no scarification on this seed. So either 5 minutes was too long and it killed, or stratified seed somehow becomes more susceptible to the scarification. I don't see any germination on this side, and I see almost every single seed germinated here. If we take a closer look at one of these grape seedlings, again, you have the sprout. This has been growing for 4 or 5 weeks now, I think. You got your first true seeds. This is cotyledons. The cotyledons are supplying energy to this newly emerging seed. And then you have your first true leaves, which are photosynthesizing, making energy for the plant, and the root system is branching out from the hypocotyl and pulling up nutrition and moisture from the soil. So this is a grape seedling. If you look at this, I told you this is a mixture of Tempranillo and Malvasia. That would make it hard for making decisions about which ones are better than the other, but I just wanted to do this for germination, for germination's sake. If you look in close at some of these, this is the cotyledons emerging. It still has the seed coat on the outside of the leaves. If this pops up, pushes out, these dicot seedlings are now emerging as 2 cotyledons. Okay, so that's Tempranillo and Malvasia. In this case, stratifying was good, very good, and scarifying the stratified seed was definitely bad. Okay, these are native Arizona grapes. I did the same thing. In this one, all of these were scarified for 10 minutes. This was the very dormant seed that was commercially purchased. What I see here is 2, 3 have emerged, and then I have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're coming along. They're just slower. Definitely slower than that. But scarifying with the same sulfuric acid for 10 minutes resulted in seeds sprouting from the native Arizona grape. So we're getting some results. There just hasn't been quite enough time to see the total, because I could get a count and then compare that in percentages. Now compare that to Arizona native grapes with no treatment. This side has no treatment. They were just planted. Okay, this side was scarified for 5 minutes. So I have no treatment, scarified for 5 minutes, scarified for 10 minutes. I don't see much of a difference. I see 2 sprouted here, 2 sprouted there. I see some more individuals coming up. I see kind of similar patterns here. So my advice would be very dormant native Arizona seeds, or dormant grape seeds in general, need a long time to come up. And there's maybe some other dormancy that we haven't quite reached. And in the text, they also talk about day length. This is November. The day length is really short. And so he said seeds that have been dormant for some time need the stratification, possibly scarification, but in this case, scarification was a detriment after stratification, so maybe scarify first, then stratify. But you can see there's not quite a difference here, and some are starting to come up. In these 2 examples, I have Mourvedre grapes. This is Mourvedre grapes that were fresh. So fresh, I planted just fresh, and then fresh I scarified for 5 minutes. I have 2 coming up here, and there's another 1, 2, 3 or so coming up. So this kind of rivals what's happening with the Arizona grape. But again, this is Mourvedre, popped out of the fruit, and then it starts fresh, and you're getting germination. When I scarified it, nothing's happening. Here we have Mourvedre that I've held the seed for 1 year. This is Mourvedre seed from a year ago. Scarified or not, no germination. I don't see anything there, and I'll continue to monitor these, and I'll continue to grow these to see if something catches up. But what I've learned from this is fresh seed is best. Stratifying makes a huge difference. Planting that first year, stratifying, and then don't do any scarification, because it seems like the stratification is all you need. All right, thank you guys.